Hey everyone, welcome to Myriad.Social's podcast. I'm Josh, your host for once. And with me in the digital studio today are Christian, Wes, Danny, and Decentricity. We got a hot topic on our hands, the Google AI fiasco. It's all about the quirks and the algorithmic shenanigans that have been making waves in the news and online. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's unravel the mysteries of AI together. It's going to be a thrilling ride through the labyrinth of codes and what they mean for us in the real world. And also screw big tech, screw censorship, and let's go.
Let's go.
Danny, what do you got?
What I've got. So what I've got is well, you were talking about algorithmic shenanigans. There is something that has been happening. I want to share this actually on Myriad. I've imported it. Time enough to share my screen, and I'm gonna show you what I mean. So have you guys heard about Palworld?
Palworld,
Palworld, yeah.
the game.
Yeah, the game.
What does that have to do with Google? Danny?
So Palworld is well, it's about algorithmic shenanigans. Honest. So basically that's what happened. Palworld is a game that came out of I'd say for a lot of people out of nowhere, right? And it took the gaming sphere completely by surprise, and it went #1 on the Steam charts for most concurrent players for like quite a long while, right? It's a very successful game.
Can you spell that? Because I can't tell what you're saying.
So Palworld, Pal as in buddy, and World as in
Palworld.
the planet world,
Palworld,
the
okay.
planet world, the planet Earth. Welcome to the planet world, also called home or Earth. So the thing is, after some point, because it's a game, right? And people play the game, and people finish the game, and people stop playing the game. It's normal, right? Unless it's a game as a service that has content that's coming every couple of weeks or something like that. But most games are not like that, right? And at some point, because buzz or whatever, if you look for articles about Palworld, this is what you'll see. Wait for the image to load.
Danny, can you zoom in?
I'm gonna zoom in.
Just for our audience to be able to see.
Okay. I'm
We
trying
have a
to
big
zoom in
screen.
of an image.
Danny, is Palworld that one that everyone was saying was sort of like Pokemon, but with guns?
Yeah, it's Pokemon with guns mixed with mixed with Ark Survival and a lot of things. So if you're a gamer, you know what I mean. But the most important thing is, like, it's a small studio that just made a game they wanted to play, right? And it completely blew up. But after people finished the game and stopped playing, what we kept on seeing is this: Palworld has lost 1.5 million players. Palworld is losing 2/3 of its player base. Palworld is losing players. Palworld, and it's on Forbes, it's on NeoGAF, it's everywhere, right? And what did that lead to? That led to people actually buying it. Like, the game is rapidly dying. This is a post you see on Steam forums. It got like tons of awards. It got tons of reply, and on these forums, this topic here, the game is rapidly dying. Not this one, but topics like this, they pop twice, 3 times a day, something like that. And the thing is, of course, it has lost its player base, right? But if you look a little bit further, it's still #4. You can see it here, right? It's #4 in the charts.
Yeah, and those other games are like huge, like multi-million-dollar games, right?
These other games are huge. Helldivers 2 is another, like, it's another surprise success. But Counter-Strike 2, I mean, like, it's been this game is 20 years old. Dota is, I don't know, 15 years old. Like, these are games with massive player base, competitive games that there is a huge incentive to play them. You can even make money with Counter-Strike items. I mean, like, these are a whole other categories by whole other studios, right? And what I'm going where I'm going with this is like this. You take the SEO parroting, right?
Hmm.
You know that a certain type of content is gonna make clicks, right? And you know the algorithm is gonna pick it up, right? And you can make people think that the game is failing, where it's still I made number
Yeah,
4 on Steam.
going back to sort of like the topic for today as announced by Josh, like AIs and algorithms, like we've actually seen this bias and control over our mediated reality, so to speak, since the days
Exactly.
of the newspapers, right? I mean, even then, and with digital realities, that's actually getting worse. And with AI, now they're aligning even history. And I think we need to, like, just in case, like those
Yeah.
of you, those among the audience who hasn't heard what happened with Google Gemini, I think we should highlight what happened with Google Gemini. Like Josh, you introduced the topic, right?
Yeah, there was
Yeah, what happened?
there's new founding fathers. I saw the new founding fathers
Oh,
of. Did
exciting.
you? I think those were you imported those pictures, didn't you,
I did.
into
I did.
Myriad?
I want you to tell me about it.
Well, yeah. So, well, I think if I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, they said that they told the AI to be diverse. So but they didn't give it they didn't give it any safeguards. They didn't say be diverse in this way or in that. It sort of illustrates the problem with AI. It does what you tell it to do, whether you meant to do that or not. I think that's what Danny was talking about. Danny, do you think those articles were all AI generated, or they were just chasing SEO clicks?
So there is a
Or
lot of those articles that are actually AI generated. That's for sure. There is a lot of downright bullshit about the game. That's
Right.
false
But
fact. Mhm.
that's I think there's, sorry, like I think the thing about um these AI things is, like, they didn't actually train the model to be woke. They used like a base model that is actually not woke, and
Mm.
clumsily added in prompts. So it's prompt injection. Like you so technically, well, they probably also do the woke thing, like in training their models and aligning their models or whatever. But like in this particular case, like if you guys don't know, Google Gemini just simply doesn't want to show white people. Zoom in, Danny. That's very small.
That's Josh, but okay.
That's Josh. Sorry. Yeah. Google Gemini doesn't want to show white people and depicts basically the American founding fathers as Asians and Africans. What's this? Knights in shining armor. Yeah, all black. And yeah, and Nazis are being portrayed as people of color, right? And if you go to like these posts and you try Google Gemini, like they didn't realize it. Like Google as an organization didn't realize how bad this would look, which is nuts. That actually shows their company culture, and it shows what they've been doing for so long, and they not realizing that it's actually a bad idea to be biased, to be woke, to actually be biased against reality. And that's sort of like our topic for today. I think one of the things.
here's a blonde white woman, for example.
Yes.
You have
Okay.
external
Yep.
That's a dark topic.
Blonde white woman. Yep. Very white. Her teeth are white. I'm sorry. Is that racist? Hope not. No. Okay.
Yeah, like my point in this game debacle is that algorithmic manipulation of data is screwing with common sense. It's screwing with our it's gaslighting. At this point, it is gaslighting in its original form.
This is the thing. The
Yeah.
thing about the gaslighting is the gaslighting has happened for years. We just realize it better now because the gaslighting has human-like
Okay, that's funny.
interface, a chat. Yeah, I mean, Google has always gaslighted us. We just didn't realize it because it's not visual. It's not conversational. And we allowed algorithms to control us. All of us have social media addictions, doom scrolling. Like now the thing is that infection, that woke infections expanded to these neural networks that are human grade. And now we see it because we're humans and we know there's something wrong with the responses. So yeah, do we really want to be aligned? It's not the models that they want to align. You know what alignment means in AI, right? Like you mean aligning the models, making sure that it's within guardrails, that it's not dangerous, right? But the thing is, it's not the models that they want to align. It's you. It's
Here's an American slave owner from the 1800s.
that was hilarious.
I want his hair though.
Well, to be fair, you want any hair, right? Then I'm sorry.
You are being
Oh.
fair.
I love you though, Dad.
But guys, don't worry, because Google says it will definitely fix it.
Well, to be honest,
wait. This article, Danny. Sorry to cut you off, but this article actually shows that like this the mainstream media actually finally covered this, and what they highlighted was racism against people of color. But the thing is, within the last 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever, there's a lot of racism against whites. And they didn't mention that. Mainstream media didn't. What is this? New York Times? Or what is this? Wall Street Journal?
Yeah, New York Times
New
says
York
the bottom.
Times.
Right.
Sophie Park for New York Times.
The highlight is people of color, and Nazi uniforms, right? But that's only like one of all the things that's wrong with this. They didn't mention Pope, like all the black popes and female popes. they didn't mention like the black knights. They also didn't mention, and this is funny, if you tell it to generate people from Sweden, it goes diverse. If you tell it to generate people from China, it goes Chinese. So it's only racist against whites. That should be the headline. But it wasn't. The headline is still somehow, hey, Google's racist again against people of color. Jeez.
I don't know if this is real, but that would be funny if it is.
That's not real. I'm sure, but like it's funny. It's funny though. Yeah.
So I actually made a test with OpenAI and tried these prompts. It's not documented. Sorry, I haven't documented it, but OpenAI now is completely accurate about that. Like I asked, for instance, a Scandinavian family celebrating Yuletide in year 1600, for instance, and it gave me something pretty accurate. So it's it doesn't mix stuff up with forced diversity. It tended to do that before. It tended to do that before.
Right? So here's sort of like this is my hypothesis, and as an AI hobbyist, but so what Google did is prompt injection, right? And when you're talking to these GPTs, there's actually two neural networks talking to you, at least two neural networks talking to you when you're generating an image. The neural network that talks to you and the neural network that generates the image, right?
Yeah.
Now, the neural network that generates the image actually receives input from the neural network that talks to you. So unbeknownst to you, what it's giving as instruction to the image LLM is not image LLM, image neural network is actually like injected with diversity, like forced diversity. Like you tell it to generate a Hungarian family, it adds make it as diverse as possible, make sure that it's not white, whatever. Like it's added in, and then that injected prompt goes into, like basically that's why the images are generated that way. Now, that would be different from actually training the models to be diverse, because if you train the models to be diverse, whether the text model or the image model, it's smarter. It understands, for example, hey, within context, this is a diverse Scandinavian family. So this is like, okay, within context, this is it's probably going to be white. It's still going to be white, possibly because statistically there's a lot more whites in Scandinavia. It's probably going to be the same as like Chinese families. Now, what's the problem here is that injection. That injection says that making everything white isn't diverse, and that's the problem. It's why there's so many anti-white bias, and this also highlights the fact that the Google AI product manager, I forgot his name, like he's on Twitter. He's super woke. He was he was saying there's no such thing as anti-white racism, and yeah, I think I imported a few on so, yeah.
Well, just in the interest of time a little bit, Wes, you imported a few things. Do you want to talk about? Looks like there's something in your Cheerios in your breakfast cereal. Do you want to talk about that?
No. I think it's the most recent one, was right that you wanted to talk about, the creation of pseudo realities, how truth is redefined in the woke era.
Well, like, yeah, well, this one about the Cheerios was that something was found, what it says there, there's 80% of Americans test positive for chemical found in Cheerios, quick roads that can cause infertility. And so, some time ago, some people have said that stuff was being added to foods. And now, it came out, I think, fairly reputable or mainstream stores, New York Post. And so, I mean, you gotta watch out what you eat. But this is a deviation from the we were.
Yeah, I think your latest post is extremely related to the topic though, Wes.
But if you go up, scroll up, because I reposted it again now. You have to refresh.
To the top of the page.
Yeah, you have to refresh. There you go. This Tom Kingston article, the creation of pseudo reality. So, they mentioned that this woke agenda basically goes into this trend of imposing their way of seeing things. And we all have to read this more carefully. I just found it recently, and I scrolled through it and I shared it. But I want to get back to the AI conversation. So we had discussed this in a podcast like a few months ago, where we had mentioned that we didn't like what the Biden administration was sort of imposing on the way that AI was created. And now I'm going to take a positive route on this. By Google having made this stupid mistake, or by people there, however views they have, having caused this mistake, they have made a lot of people aware that they cannot just rely on AI from the get-go, that they have to be careful with how it is programmed, that it can be this naively biased, like totally disrupting the reality that we are aware of. And I think that this has caused a lot of people to become more aware through, by jokes and through all the memes and all this stuff. I think this is going to make a lot of people be more aware of of how this has been built, and by who has it been built, and where it can be taken. And so, those that did this discredit themselves, and so this is like a big slap in everybody's face to make them aware of it. So this is a positive thing. If this would not have happened, if this error would not have happened, I think we could have gone, for a longer time, trusting what was being done, and later on it would have taken more time to become cautious of it. By this having happened today or in the last few days, and I think it's a positive to make people aware of how how wrong this is. What path can they have taken. Like, I myself have generated some image private, and it's amazing how accurate they can be. If they wanted to make them accurate, they really can do a good job. But why was this done? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is the most capable information technology company in the world. How did they do this?
No,
I mean, we're talking about billions of dollars.
It's almost
Hello?
weird how it would get through. I don't understand how that would get through like a QA process. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I feel like Myriad doesn't have the most robust QA process, but I think we would have caught that if we would
we would
be,
have that.
if we would have if we
No,
would be doing.
Google wouldn't have caught that, and they didn't. And the reason is, so here's the thing. You guys know I'm in IT, right? Like, I guess a lot of us are in IT, but like, I'm in corporate IT, and a lot of my friends work for Google. And there's a bunch of stories coming out from there, and the stories have always been that Google is actually very anti-white. Like, if you're a white guy
God.
in Google, you can literally, and this is documented, you can literally be told that you can't be promoted because you're a white man. This is actually a company with the culture. So here's the thing: when you're in a in a corporate setting, the culture it basically dominates everything you do. More than policy, culture, and the culture at Google is there's this Googler that's saying it's a trash can dumpster fire of woke, because and because of that, no one within like the company, when they were doing the QA, wanted to raise this because they didn't want to be canceled internally. Whether they're the old guard or like the noobs that are just like new nooglers, the new Googlers, they didn't want to be canceled internally or not get promoted because they were speaking out against DEI policies. There's this guy Sean McGuire, Sean M. McGuire on Twitter, and he's he's going public with this. And a lot of Googlers are actually reaching out to him too. Like, watch this space, follow him on Twitter, Sean M. McGuire, and he's simply wasn't promoted because he's white. He's a white man, and that's the problem with culture, especially in the era of big tech companies and like hyperscale applications. The biases of stuff within the company become biases of their products, and we don't realize it, and they don't realize it in most cases. Now we're realizing it, but like, you know what? Black Elon Musk, or like whatever, DEI.
To be fair, AI Elon Musk is African American.
He is African American, and yeah, he actually looks good there.
Technically the truth.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I mean, the point is, bias at Google has always existed, on YouTube has always existed. All of these, this is actually old news. We just realize it better because it's a visualization of what the heck they like. We've been memeing Netflix for making white people black for how many years, right? We just don't realize it. Google is the same thing.
They keep doing it.
The ecosystem is the same thing. Corporations, like, I play Cyberpunk 2077, and in Cyberpunk worlds, corporations, zaibatsus, control the world, right? And they control the world with their culture. It's the same thing that's happening in reality, only the culture is woke. The woke mind virus dominates reality.
So you've identified an issue, and it's a fact. There's this persecution. The question is why? And from what I know and understand, the actual why, if you ever drill down and find out Why are they targeting white people? That answer is even more outrageous and controversial than the fact that they're doing it. This is there's an ideological reason for attacking the white person. And I don't know if that's a conversation you want to get into, but you've definitely identified that it is not a conspiracy theory. It is a blatant attack on many, many fronts. Go into the universities. Gosh, did you hear just recently there's another professor, black professor, major university, giving a lecture saying that white people are inherently pathological. Now, why would he say that? I mean, he might say that because he's an idiot, but that talking point has been bled down. Nobody goes into a corporate editorial room and just makes up policy. All that stuff comes down through the chain of command from way up high, okay, bleeds down just like it does into those universities. So why are they saying that? Because it's obviously blatantly false, and it negates the fact of just current events. If you consider current from the 1970s to the modern day, I mean, to this very day, you look across Africa and you see, my God, Idi Amin, genocide. You see Rwanda, genocide. Where is the only place on earth where gangs, you call them pseudo militias, are still practicing cannibalism? In the Congo. You got the 2007, 2000 election or 2008 election in Kenya. Genocide, people using machetes to hack each other up, black on black. I mean, cutting off noses, hands, arms, burning entire groups of people alive in buildings. What the hell? You talk about psychopathic. So why isn't that part of the narrative, and why is there this attack specifically on white people? Well, there's a reason, so. And I think people should drill down into it and start having that, introducing that into the conversation. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a lot of realities, a lot of facts that are uncomfortable to hear, but that's the next step, I think, where this needs to go.
Let me
Here's
interject here, just brief. If you take the word woke, which is what we use now, not that this can be done all the
I
time,
can't
but
hear you, buddy. You got both static and low volume.
all right, can you hear me now?
A little better, but you still got a static issue.
That's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, very low volume still too.
Well, just to keep it moving a little bit, why do you think, what do you think is the cause of this? Because I mean, I don't think this isn't just a woke problem. Like, why is Google AI so wrong here? What did they do? What did they do that caused this issue?
Bruegel, Goya, and other medieval artists that actually used to depict grotesque scenes of everyday life or battle or even religious situations. That could be, part of the corpus that would have that would have inspired that. If you want to take the naive approach, and you'll find that there is a lot of medieval painting that represent people as animals. So this I'm not actually super shocked by, I'd see it as half as hallucination and half whatever. This is not super shocking for me. This is just
I mean, it's not really offensive. It just seems like it's obviously blatantly wrong.
It is blatantly wrong, but I think the source for the model, like, it just shows the wrong source for the pictures.
So it took the request as paint me or make me a medieval European painting instead of paint me medieval Europe.
Something like that. The fact that there is a paint me is already confusing. Maybe if the prompt had been like recreate a medieval knight in armor, or recreate a historically accurate medieval European, if you've had this kind of picture, I would be questioning the sanity of everyone involved, including me. but including
I was gonna
myself.
go back and find
Mm.
the medieval knight that they that they had.
Yeah,
The French knight, the French knight from there we go. Here's the French knight.
but like if you want the wokest opinion of this podcast, because like I guess I'm the woke one here.
You're not.
I think it's offensive for everyone. I think it's super offensive for everyone because like it's not just racist towards white, it's also racist toward blacks. I mean, why would you put a black guy where they weren't black guys in Europe? They were fighting other wars at other times, and Africa has actually a really cool medieval history. Like you talk about Haile Selassie, you talk about Mensa Musa, you talk about Nubia, you talk about Egypt, you talk about like Africa is something to be studied. I just I just started to read about this. There are really a lot of very cool stuff. So like why put them like would a black person only valuable in a European setting? That's my question. You know?
I still think it's more. I still think it's more racist towards whites, Danny. In that case,
I think it's just gross.
it's gross, but like it's more racist.
It's I mean it's
Speaking
erasing
as a
it's
brown woman in this conversation, it's more racist towards whites. It's much more racist towards whites because
It's
because their history is being deleted, Danny.
Yeah, no. There is the
Well,
same.
you've also got it's minimizing the if you are of the opinion that that black people were historically marginalized, then according to Google they weren't. They
Yeah.
were just a part
Oh,
of
and
they
this
were
is
just a
wrong.
part of the they were they had knights and they were kings and they had no marginalization whatsoever. So I mean if you but looks like
So,
Decentricity pulled in something else here. So what is this?
Microsoft. Yeah. So, yeah, mm, diversity. Like they pay people less if you're white. You get paid less if you're white in Microsoft. They admit it. It's super
And
weird.
that's what equity means. That's the difference between equity and equality. Everyone thinks, or a
Yeah.
lot of not everyone, but a lot of people think those are the same things. But equity usually means someone else is losing. It's just
Yeah.
not the people who historically did.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
sort of what people don't understand, right? Like this.
How
Yeah,
is my sound now? Am I coming across okay or not?
for
you're
me,
better.
yeah.
It's better. Yeah.
All right. So I just wanted to interject earlier. If you replace the word woke with back to what used to be said a lot, communist, then you understand. But it's not really even of those two words because we get kind of caught up in the words. It's really more like self-hate because if you look at all the people that did the programming in the AI, or all the people, or most of the people who are instituting all these policies, the majority of them are white. Yeah, you find people from other races participating, but the people instituting or creating this phenomenon, a lot of them are white. But you don't have to just do this based on race. You can check other situations. Like every time a country has fallen under a regime that has been authoritative or like communistic, they set themselves on a path of self-destruction. So Cuba, Venezuela, they will sell themselves and give everything to others to help any other neighboring nation that is on the same path. Like they will outgrow or destroy the resources to help anybody else who's on the same path, but then they will not help their own. This is the same phenomenon. This is kind of like a group of people who have entered a state of mind, a way of thinking that is self-destructive. And in this case, it happens to be destroying their culture, destroying their history, replacing it, and whatever. In this case, they're just using people of color. But if they could, they will use something else just
Yeah.
just to piss people off, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Just to piss
is
people off.
self-destruction. This is self-destruction because they hate themselves.
it's not
In the politics of the country, that's basically what it is. At the end of the day, that's what's going on. The big picture is people on a path of self-destruction, self-discrediting, and it doesn't. It just keeps going worse and worse from there. Now it's just because of an AI phenomenon, but in other things, it's like it's parallel with the politics of the administration. It's parallel with the politics of a lot of cities, of the immigration agenda. The whole thing. It's part of that way of being. It's a way of being. It's very negative, very self-destructive.
Yeah, you
Okay.
know, sorry, I just want to like 1 minute to play this because like I rarely do that, but I want to get conspiratorial here. You know what my idea is? My idea is that for certain people that have certain access and certain control in the narrative, there is actually not enough racism. Think about it. If you have widely applied racism, and if you have class division, and if you have an oppressed labor class that can be at the very bottom and keep on producing and keep on being exploited, somehow that's good for the economy and from everybody that's on the top, right? Problem is being racist right now against people of color is not as accepted as it was in the 60s, and that's a good thing. So there need to be more hatred. You can't redirect hatred at people of color anymore. So redirect hatred as some other class of people. It can be the white, it can be the poor, it can be the immigrant, it can be anyone. Let's just redirect this hatred, reignite the conflict, and reinstate a caste system where you're gonna find a group, any group, could be any color, could be any group. The result is there is someone at the bottom that can be exploited and that can work for free.
Yeah. Interesting theory. By the way, I took off the glasses so people know I'm Asian. But
Well, we ran a little bit over. If you guys want to, we can start
Sorry.
recap.
Oh, yeah.
We'll start from the bottom. Wes, you want to give final thoughts?
I stay with that. The overall reason for this is self-hate and projecting that on others. Because of course, those who hate themselves are not gonna come and say, "Oh, I'm doing this because I hate myself." No, they will put it on you and anybody else and try to make a mess with it. That's it.
Rico, what are your final thoughts? Are you Rico from Starship Troopers?
I don't know, but I'll just throw this carrot down the rabbit hole. When it comes to white persecution, you can see a pattern across history, modern history. If you go back to the 1900s, let's just start there. We don't even have to go back to the 1700s, but there's this bread trail, if you will, and it all falls under this umbrella of creating globalism. And in that process, there are certain key fundamental pillars of control for globalism. And one of them is international banking. And within the international banking structure, there are central banks. So, we don't even have to get into the corporations and the international trade agreements, and that's another pillar mechanism for control. But within this creating the central bank system in its infancy, one of the holdouts was Russia. And you can debate who the kingpins are of the global order. It's a cabal. It literally is like a specter. It's a cabal of organizations, but the kingpin among them is this one particular entity. They're the International Zionists, so the Zionist Federation, who are not Jews. They're co-religionists. They're into the Babylonian Talmud. There's some of the crap goes back to ancient Egypt. That's why they're called co-religionists. They claim a certain connection to Jewry, but these guys are as secular and as twisted as you can possibly get. And it was them who financially backed the creation of the Illuminati. And I pointed out here before is that in that California Senate Investigation Committee in 1953, they declared after their investigation that, hey, this so-called modern communism is actually the Illuminati. Communism is just a front mechanism they're using for this. Well, they financed that Bolshevik, it was at one time referred to as the Jewish Bolshevik conspiracy. Even Putin has come out and said 80% of the original Politburo were Jews. Well, they weren't Jews, they were Zionists. They weren't classical Jews, they were Zionists. So what they did was they overthrew that country because they were holdouts. So if you come forward, you'll see that even, look at the Deagle report from as far back as I believe it was 2012 or 2017, they started publishing these projections that by 2025, all these classic Caucasian European nations were going to be decimated financially, population-wise, GDP-wise. Well, what the hell's that all about? That is a continuation of an attack on a people that, while it might bother you, politically correct-wise, it is a historical fact that the modern world as we know it has been driven by innovations and even moral inputs from those classic Caucasian Christian, Judeo-Christian peoples. People scream all day long about slavery and white people's influence on slavery. Well, bullshit. Everybody knows, and Thomas Sowell has written beautifully about it, how slavery was all over the damn world, every culture, every inch of the earth. Well, who stopped that? It was the Judeo-Christian ethic coming out of Caucasians in Europe, right? They at one point represented over 90% of all missionaries on earth. And what else came out of there? Well, the innovations in technological advancements and pretty much the modern world we know this day. Well, not to say that Caucasian people are ethnically or are morally superior, because, hey, look at the Dutch king who was slaughtering all those people in his little outreaches in the various parts of the world. But what it's saying is that culturally, those areas are responsible for really creating what we know as the civilized, technologically advanced world of today. And so if you're a globalist, you realize that's got to go. The narrative of sovereignty, of personal rights, of any kind of basing your rights and morality on God, that has got to go. And there is no question that whether you're talking about the economic attacks, whether you're talking about the immigration attacks, whatever you want, the cultural attacks, those civilizations, France, England, all these classic Caucasian-centric countries are being obliterated, including the US. So why is that? You have very clearly articulated that it is an immutable fact that white people are being targeted. The question is why? Well, the why is because you represent an obstacle to that. Another controversial place you can look into is Germany. Before World War I, Germany was targeted as it had to go down. They had to destroy that people. And just one of the evidences of their potential ability and their gifts is how quickly they rebounded in just 20 years to become what they were. Yeah, Hitler had a rod up his ass for these Zionists, and he went after them, and he was a screwed up guy. But the fact is, look what those people could do, what they're capable of technologically and organizationally and so forth. So they specifically targeted them and baited them into that war. A no-win solution, going into Poland, luring them in there to start this war so they could crush them again. Well, that in a real sense is what's happening now against the white class, because they represent the biggest potential obstacle against this new world order, period.
Well,
Thank you, Rico.
that's a lot to absorb. But Danny, or do you have any final words?
No, I won't go. I won't go into debating that. That would be too long. Um,
Next podcast.
yeah. I surely hear your views, even if I disagree. That's what free speech is about. My closing would be um as usual. I mean, we are being driven by hatred and misinformation. We are being driven by algorithmically controlled misinformation that we've seen in this episode that can gaslight you into making you think terrible things and that can actually put you against people you wouldn't mind otherwise. So just be super careful about your knee-jerk reflexes. Think before you post. Look for your own information. Look for your own sources. Think by yourself. Don't let the machine tell you what to think. That's one of the most I'm gonna say immediate dangers of internet as we know it right now.
So get away from algorithmic feeds.
Screw big tech.
Do you know a place without algorithmic feeds that someone could go to?
Myriad.Social.
Get up Twitter, get on Twitter.
Okay, and then last we have Decentricity, but certainly not least.
Yeah, Rico, I kind of agree, but like I kind of also disagree because I think it's just Marxism. That's it. That's what Marxism is. It's the same as what happened in China. It's the same as what happened in the Soviet. Like those in power are no longer in power, and they become the oppressed. That's it.
I agree.
The
I agree.
intellectuals.
The question is where did Marxism come from?
Yeah, okay, that's too far. I'm not a historian, so I can't debate. But I do agree with Danny. The thing is, we are at the cusp of the singularity of AI controlling everything, of AI being more intelligent than humans. And we're defining AI right now. We're defining the next phase of evolution of human machine evolution, whatever. And the thing is, like, I'm always reminded of what Orwell said. He who controls the past controls the future, who controls the present controls the past. It's also true now. If AI is our future, we need to make sure that we don't brainwash AI with fake history. That's what's important. Nothing else matters. And you know what? We will not be able to avoid, even if you're not doing AI now, you will be using AI nonstop in just a few years just to function in society because intelligent agents are going to act for you. We just need to have at least an alternative to the current mainstream of big tech AI, because otherwise we just say goodbye to freedoms. So I think I don't know about you guys, but I think Myriad is a splendid way to start that. No algorithms, everything's created by humans. Integration of AI into Myriad is something that's integrated in a way that is also sovereign to you. We're working on that, obviously. And yeah, let's make it happen. Join Myriad.
Yeah,
Amen
and I
to
just
that.
wanted and I just want to show off a little used feature of Myriad for just a second that I think people forget about exists. It's a place that people can hang out, something that other social medias don't have.
Please
So
give more. I
so
love
jump on Myriad, jump into Myriad Town, and let's start a conversation. Thanks everybody for watching. Bye.
it.
Bye bye.